Hello, glad to have you here. This is from the CBN, bringing you weekly reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I am Misi Daja. Last time, we told you about the one-day interactive session between the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Organised Labour, which held in Lagos, as one of the ways by which the CBN brings enlightenment to the public and gets feedbacks on its policies and initiatives. Today, we have for you the question and answer part of that engagement, plus the top stories from the Central Bank of Nigeria this week. But first, the news. Stay tuned. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Monday announced the formal engagement of the global fintech company BT Incorporated as the technical partner for its digital currency named eNaira, due to be unveiled later in the year. CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele, who made the announcement, also listed the benefits of the central bank digital currency (CBDC) to include increased cross-border trade, accelerated financial inclusion, cheaper and faster remittance inflows, easier targeted social interventions, and improvements in monetary policy effectiveness, payment systems, and tax collection. Project Giant, as the Nigerian CBDC pilot is known, has been a long and thorough process for the CBN, with the bank's decision to digitize the Naira in 2017 following extensive research and explorations. Given the significant explosions in the use of digital payments and the rise in the digital economy, the CBN's decision follows an unmistakable global trend in which over 85% of central banks are now considering adopting digital currencies in their countries. Director of Corporate Communications, Mr. Osita Onwanisobi, said the CBN's selection of BT Incorporated from among highly competitive bidders was hinged on the company's technological competence, efficiency, platform security, interoperability, and implementation experience. The Central Bank of Nigeria says it has received and noted with concerns reports of sharp practices by some unscrupulous customers to circumvent the new CBN policy on the sale of forex for overseas personal and business travel. Some of these unwholesome practices include the use of fake visas and cancellation of air tickets after purchase of PTA and BTA. This trend, if not curbed, portends risk to the integrity and stability of the forex market. The CBN has therefore directed all banks to publish on their websites the names and BVN of defaulting customers who present fake travel documents or cancel their tickets and fail to return the purchased PTA and BTA within 2 weeks, as stipulated in the customer declaration form signed by them. According to the Director of Banking Supervision, Mr. Haruna Mustafa, this directive issued in a letter to all banks on Monday is in addition to other measures already put in place by the Central Bank. The Central Bank of Nigeria Wednesday announced the confirmation of the appointment of its spokesman, Mr. Osita Onwanisobi, as the Director, Corporate Communications Department, with effect from August the 25th, 2021. Onwanisobi has been in acting capacity since last year, October, after his predecessor, Mr. Isaac Okorafor, retired from service. The CBN also appointed Mrs. Elizabeth Fashoranti as Director, Branch Operations, Dr. Abdul Kadir Jibril as Director, Medical Services, and Mrs. Jumoke Monguno as Director, Consumer Protection Department. Others are Mrs. Amina Habib as Director, Human Resources Department, Dr. Blaise Ijebo as Director, Risk Management, Mr. Chibuzo Efobi as Director of Financial Policy and Regulation, and Mr. Benjamin Nnadi as Director, Reserve Management. All the appointments are with effect from August the 25th.
Oh, I see. Just hold on. In that case, let me call out my PIN. It is 4-1.
Uncle, please stop.
Stop what?
You're giving someone else your personal identification number PIN?
Not someone else. It's from my bank.
Please hang up, Uncle. That's a fraudster.
That's not true. But they call out my full name. I am sure this is from my bank.
Uncle, no bank is ever going to call you to ask for your personal identification number PIN, your mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC.
But it sounded so genuine.
Yes, hackers and fraudsters always sound genuine. But please, uncle, don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to any phony emails, text message, SMS, and don't click on any link you're not sure of.
Even if they call your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details.
If you suspect any issue with your account, please go to your bank.
Oh, I see.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Welcome back. You're still watching from the CBN. Now let's take you into the Q&A session of the one-day interaction between the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Organised Labour and Civil Society in Lagos a few days back.
Is Aribatishe Adebayo, the NLC Secretary of your State Congress, to the CPD, Consumer Protection Department. How effective is CPD? Because I myself have been a victim of CPD not responding to my complaints. Last year in December, I had issue with my banks. After 4 months of not getting it resolved, I mailed CPD. They responded immediately. And but to this moment is yet to be resolved. Number 3, to the Currency Management Department. Is it right for any bank to reject the phased or torn Naira notes? Because some of the banks rejecting such notes, it has made it difficult for those who have such notes in possession to spend it. And the last question, to the last speaker, how do you curb crimes for quick response payments? Because I want to believe that PINs or password are designed for authorization. But in this case, a stolen phone can be used to make payments. Thank you.
We've been talking about the 5-year policy trust of CBN. And everybody have talked about agriculture and the likes. But no one had talked about mining industry. We've been talking about non-oil economy, and we are not talking about mining. I want to know why mining industry is not part of this 5-year policy trust.
My first question is, I'm directing my questions to Mr. Abu. As a civil servant some years ago, I came to this program and we are encouraged to go into farming, which I did totally. I was given some portion of land at LASU assigned to me as the coordinator, Lagos State Organic Scheme Box. Federal government, through some other people, Central Bank, came to that land to come and check before the COVID-19 that they are going to do some other things for us. I could tell you that I brought up all the Ojo local government and some other environment farmers, young farmers together. They came to capture us. Till now, we couldn't get anything. Sir, the second one about the COVID-19 enjoyment. I filled almost 655 forms for people within and outside that environment I am. Till now, through CBN, they brought the form from let me specifically say, from Ojo, now they've combined them, agricultural something together, that we should come, we filled the form, 600 farmers, young farmers, that they don't have anything. I filled the form for them. Till now, nothing has been gotten from them.
I'm the Secretary, TUC, Lagos State Council. Sir, my question is this. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are all aware that while workers are at the forefront of this pandemic, it is these same workers who are also at the receiving end of this pandemic. The world of work is facing a lot of challenges. And one thing I want to point out is the policy trust program, the 5-year policy trust program. I want to know how it will impact workers positively. And also, somebody said I should ask this. The question is, he said, if your phone is being stolen and somebody can easily just transfer your money from your phone, he's asking what kind of, is it line or who can somebody call to quickly stop such transaction? Thank you.
There are proliferation of loan lending companies now. in Nigeria. But what is very interesting about this lending company is this: the way they retrieve their loan by harassing debtors. The CBN should be aware of this. What is the CBN doing to streamline these lending companies?
What can CBN do? What purpose does CBN have? To the labor unions in the banking industry, we are always having incessant termination of workers, casualization in the banking industry. What is the role of CBN to banks to ensure that the unions in the banking industry are properly protected, to ensure that workers there are regularized and their jobs secured? Thank you.
From Norge, Lagos State. My question is this. In those days, if you go to the banks and you are looking for new Naira notes, you are given and you easily get it. But these days, may I know why it is very, very difficult to get new Naira notes? Most times you go to the bank, you are given old Naira notes and you start getting worried. But if you go to parties, if you want to buy new Naira notes, it is easily available. You get them, any amount you want. But may I know why is it very, very difficult to get these Naira notes from the banks these days?
Reshita Olajide from NLC. My first question is, SIM fraud is so rampant these days. And it is even mentioned recently in some of the video clips we watched that First Bank and Access Bank as the most vulnerable bank to access into. So what is CBN doing about this so that we will not be defrauded of our hard work income that we get? Then the bank charges, either online to your ATM or online, the charges are so exorbitant that just how much are they charging us? It's just too exorbitant. I don't know what CBN is doing about this. Then the last one, consumer protection. The insurance, I don't know the extent of insurance because in the when we are in school, you know, the maximum you can get from NDIC is 50,000 if a bank collapse or whatever. It's not mentioned here that to what extent are you protected if in case of any eventuality.
Commercial banks, we want to take loan as workers. They will come to us that come and take loan. In fact, there is one that they sent message to me 2 days ago. This loan is in 2 digits. And what I've seen that in all other countries, in fact, one particular country, developed country now, they have been calling the citizens that do you have any need? Because we are calling you because of the COVID-19. We know you must have some difficulties. Do you want to take loan? And their loan is just at 6%. But in this country, my bank, UBA called me. They said the loan will give you will be at the rate of 20 to 24%. What is central bank doing? Central bank must do something. This is there a hydra head problem that we have in this country? That the loan interest cannot come down to 1 digit. All the time it must be going up. And once you go to this commercial bank, the next thing is that they will be telling lies against central bank. It's central bank policy. It's central bank policy. Once we collect the loan now, we sign that it's 3 years, 36 months that we'll pay it back. After paying 1 year, this commercial bank will come and they will tell us that central bank policy has changed everything. They will increase. And then they start doing all these games. They will be increasing it. From 21%, at the end of the day, you might pay 28% interest rate. And once you say no, there will be problems. So this commercial bank, we need to curtail, we need to let them be regulated, sir.
Now, somebody talked about casualization and incessant termination of jobs by banks. Honestly, I want to say that, you see, this is not really the problem today. Because even with the pandemic, that we know that it hit the global economy, also impacted so massively on a Nigerian economy,
the central bank governor issued a circular to all the banks that they should not terminate any staff appointment. And we have not gotten any information that any of these banks terminated their staff appointments. And so I think that's a plus to the CBN. We need to understand that there is a distinction between the monetary authority and the fiscal authority. Now, there are palliatives the federal government does, and I want to believe that's what she's talking about, because for the CBN interventions, you come as an individual, and that's why we've tried to leverage technology, for people to fill out forms. You just apply through the web, and then they just get this thing and then process. But let me also say this, because the lady there talked about not getting. Well, I will be surprised if I come into this hall and everyone here tells me that they have gotten CBN intervention. I will be more than surprised, because I do not expect that it will happen. Now, you see, the TCF, Targeted Credit Facility, when we started, we said 50 billion. We overwhelmed. We moved to 100 billion. It was exhausted. It was increased to 200 billion, increased to 300 billion. Now we've done over 600,000 persons have benefited. Do you know the applications we have? Over 8 million. Over 8 million. We even moved it down from about 2 million, to a maximum of 750, right? For SMEs, and then for households about 300. So that we will be able to meet all of these needs. It's still increasing. So you can understand the issues. And that gets us back to what the chairperson NLC Lagos said. It's quite overwhelming. Now, but like I said, we need to understand that CBN is a monetary authority. And we have the physical. Just like the person who talked about, she talked about interest rates. What the banks charge and all of that. You see, what the banks charge as interest rate, there are so many things they factor into what they call the rates or cost of funds that they charge, right? Now, if you look at infrastructure, you look at even electricity, most of them provide the electricity. We are praying that over time, the interventions we are doing in power and in power sector will generate enough power and be able to distribute this power, and we begin to have stability in the power sector, so that cost would be, would be driven downwards. It's not just the banks. What about even the textile factories? What about other manufacturers? They have problems of power. They'll tell you when they factor in power, they factor in logistics, they factor in so many other things. Now this drives the cost of their product high.
Then somebody asks that why is it difficult to get clean notes from banks? Just like I explained the currency life cycle, actually when these notes are produced, we issue them out to the deposit money banks. Why don't they issue it to you? I really cannot tell. But we know that we give it to them and it's supposed to be issued to the public. Thank you very much.
An information on social media platforms that he heard that First Bank and Access Bank are most vulnerable. I want to tell you categorically that that information is not correct. Our banks, from time to time, we have an oversight on them to ensure that there is cyber threat detection, there is penetration testing they do from time to time to make sure that your funds are secure and safe, to ensure that the platforms are secure and safe. So it is not true that First Bank and Access Bank are vulnerable. Please disregard that information.
AXMIS is not only agriculture, it's for small and medium enterprises. And some of these MSMEs are also into manufacturing. So far, I know that they have expended over 120-something billion under AXMIS, and over 32,000 something beneficiaries have gotten into that. Again, we are trying to get our youth also and our university graduates and undergraduates to move towards that manufacturing area. And recently in Lagos here, the CBN governor mentioned the tertiary institutions and enterprises scheme, TIES. That again, I can assure you, we have done the groundwork. Very soon the approval will come out, and we have already had the engagements with the institutions, the universities and the vice chancellors of those institutions. So as soon as we are done with the guidelines, we'll kickstart that, and that also will have impact on the manufacturing. Miriam Ali talked about, I think my boss already answered that, TCF, there is no payment. Like he said, a lot of applications are on ground. We have increased from 50 billion to over 400 billion. We have over 600 and something thousand people have benefited and still counting. So definitely, the TCF is going out. You just keep following up and ensure that you know the position of the application, and we can take it up from there. Thank you, sir.
Say, the point is that you need to understand that there are institutions that are not regulated by CBN. We have seen all these Yahoo organizations who just have to be very careful. We've issued disclaimers. We've come out to press releases and statements to say that you should. When someone tells you that you put 1 naira and you get 20 naira, where in the world do you see that kind of thing? And people rushing there to put their money. We keep saying that. Some of these loan sharks, they are not even under CBN regulation. Because for you to be under CBN, you must have gotten a license from the CBN. And that's the only time that we can regulate such institutions.
If you remember, one of the things that I said is that for people that have complained, we've gotten banks to resolve to pay back over 89 billion naira. You would agree with me that's a lot of money. What will happen, we'll talk offline so that I'll find out the details and find out what had happened to your complaint. So please, let's see after this. Somebody also was raising the issue about if your phone is stolen, what do you need to do? First and foremost, you need to report to your bank. But one of the things that we've also done, because we always know that time is of essence when these kind of things happen, is that we've told banks to do a USSD code, and that is what we have up there, for you to be able to just do it immediately and put your phone number, and then the phone number will be deactivated from making transactions on your account. One of the things that we've also noticed is that sometimes some people, they would assign a phone number to their account, and then they stop using the account, and they forget to remove that number from their account. And then somebody else starts to use that number, and the person has access to the account, and the person is doing transactions. So it's always important, if you've allocated a number to your phone and you are no longer using that number, please remove it. Please go to your bank and tell them that you are no longer using that line, so that they will deactivate it from your account, please. It's very important. My colleague spoke about the issue of bank charges, and he spoke about the fact that as much as possible, we're constantly trying to find ways to reduce the charges that banks are taking. And he mentioned different instances where charges have reduced. We are constantly trying to find ways to see how we can reduce it. And I think by next year again, we'll kick off that process again, based on feedback from people to say, okay, where exactly can we reduce the charges that are coming out? You would agree with me that there is no charge that you have seen that has gone up. As much as possible, because we're trying to protect customers, we always try to find areas where we can reduce the charges. The most that you will see is that maybe the charge remains the same, despite whatever is happening in the industry. But any change that you see, typically it is being reduced. Then somebody was also talking about the issue of insurance, that when what does NDIC insure our deposit for? NDIC insures deposits in an account up to the tune of 500,000 for current accounts, for accounts in deposit money banks. And based on our discussions with them, it's a very interesting one. What they've said is that based on all the accounts that they've seen, that there's 96% or so, 96% of accounts have 500,000 naira or less. So more often than not, whenever this kind of things happen, practically everyone is covered by it. But for commercial banks, it's 500,000. For microfinance banks, it's 250,000.
That's the package from the CBN this week. Do log on to the website of the Central Bank of Nigeria using www.cbn.gov.ng to learn more about the various economic initiatives of the bank. If you have any complaints that your bank could not solve, call the CBN Contact Center using the phone line provided below. Call rates may apply. Keep sending your comments and contributions to the email address from the cbn@gmail.com and follow us on the social media for updates and uploaded episodes of the program. Join us again next time. I'm Liam Isidada. Stay safe and bye for now.